Well, a lot of important points you bring up there, Casey. Let me get Evan to weigh in on some of this. Talk to me about what Casey just reported, which is the fact that a lot of this is being done behind closed doors. What do you make of that approach? Is it effective? Do you worry that Republicans are getting too much pushback for doing it that way?
I make two things of it. First, I think that doing it behind closed doors is because Republicans fear the PR fallout. This is a toxic bill, and nobody likes to see the sausage made, and this sausage is really bad on top of that. And then the second thing is, I think that doing it behind closed doors is not helpful to the overall goal of fixing Obamacare. If you actually look at it, in 2017, 1/3 of all counties in the United States have only one insurer or even no insurers. And in 2016, that number was 7%. So Obamacare is clearly broken. When you do it behind closed doors, it doesn't allow input from people who have good ideas, be they Republican or Democrat. We should have this being written by the committees that deal with it. The Help Committee would be a great place to do it. And we can get ideas that Republicans and Democrats that get behind, such as telemedicine, which can infinitely lower the cost of care and increase the quality of care without making any sort of massive changes to the way that Medicare or Medicaid works.
Well, and take us inside what you're hearing from members of the Republican Party, other Republicans who want to see progress on health care. What happens if members of Congress, if senators go back to their home districts without getting anything significant done? I mean, how much urgency is there to make sure they can show some progress? They can tell voters, hey, we are actually trying to carry out the promises we made to you.
Well, what we're seeing here from the people I've spoken to on the Senate side is they know that they'll end up passing some sort of a bill that's very different from the House version of the bill. And they
by July 4th, do you think? Are they saying by July 4th?
I would say closer to Bastille Day than the Independence Day. But
okay,
we can actually say, they want to be able to say, listen, we as the Senate did our job. We passed a bill. They know in reconciliation, the gulf is so wide that it'll be impossible to bridge, and that this bill is going to likely fail there. If it fails there, that's a huge problem for us in 2018. It could be better off in the long term in that maybe Republicans and Democrats will come together and craft a bill to fix Obamacare that is long-lasting and actually has a meaningful impact that lowers the cost of care and increases the quality of care.
Casey, I want to go back out to you and just talk about the timing of all of this, because based on my conversations, if Senate Republicans can't get something done this summer, they're up against some really tough deadlines in the fall. The debt ceiling, among other things. How much urgency is there to get something done before the fall, and what happens if they don't? What's your sense?
Yeah, look, I think there's incredible urgency to get it done before the fall. I think that's why they set this July 4th deadline. It was, I think, there was a sense that it was an unrealistic deadline, but again, sometimes to get things done, especially in the Senate, where everything moves a little bit like molasses, you have to set an earlier deadline in order to meet a later one. So look, if this slips into, into July and they leave for the August recess without doing this, I think the chances for it actually getting through diminish significantly. And I think Republicans know that. And I think that, then you're going to run into the debt ceiling. You're going to run into the end of the fiscal year, the potential for a government shutdown. This is going to get pushed to the wayside again. So, look, I think Senate Republicans are feeling an awful lot of pressure from the White House, yes, but also from, the voters that they're going to be facing pretty soon. Don't forget, these midterm campaigns, yes, they are in 2018. That is not that far away if you were somebody who is running for re-election at this point. And if they don't get this done this summer, then they will have basically squandered the year that they had to make legislative achievements without electoral pressure. That's a pretty significant thing.
I would say
fantastic point. Go ahead.
I would say Casey's right, but the White House Rose Garden celebration is what I worry about as a strategist. I think Democrats are licking their lips at being able to have a split screen ad of a Republican congressman celebrating passing the AHCA, and on the other side of the split screen would be a mother who can't get access to health care for a sick child. It's going to be devastating when they use those ads against us.